All right, we are live.
Very good. Hello to everyone in the future, because we are still just at the moment. Thank you so much for checking us out. This is the second part of a two-part series. For the participants, hello. This again is a two-part series. This is part two of putting the I in AI. AI standing for artificial intelligence. And of course, last time we covered Seeing AI, which is a multi-purpose artificial intelligence productivity app for the blind, although it was only for the iPhone. And today we will be shifting over. We will be shifting over. Sorry about that. We will be shifting over to the Android side of things because just like iOS, the Android platform has several very powerful apps that have been written for it to enhance the productivity of the visually impaired. So for anyone that has an iPhone, for anyone that has an Android, my apologies, this one is for you. If you were considering the switch to Android, and you should, if you are serious about it, you should consider a switch to an Android because it's just as accessible as iOS on iPhones nowadays. They have done a wonderful job at bridging the gap, both with the voice assistant on the Samsung ecosystem for Android and with TalkBack, which is what most other Androids use as the native screen reading software. But it's done leaps and bounds, and I myself have been considering switching to Android simply to enhance my knowledge, knowing and being safe in the fact that hey, it's completely accessible now, and that's awesome. That's really cool. I mean, our avenues of technology are just opening up, and what we present today is going to demonstrate to you just how much real estate is available to the blind now when it comes to tech. But before we jump into all that, today's panel will be a tour. Just be myself and Dan Hart. Dan Hart is our data and accessibility specialist and the local Android expert here at the Travis Association for the Blind. Hey, Dan.
Hey there, good evening.
Hey, good evening. So he'll be carrying this one. He knows if you have any for Android questions, please email Dan. We have Bailey, Aaron, and myself are currently striving towards enhancing our knowledge of the of Android. I believe Bailey is considering switching. He just got himself a tablet, and Aaron just switched over to a Samsung, I believe. But definitely right now, our guru for all things Android is Dan Hart. We'll jump into this presentation to join us, to talk to us with your voice box. On your Windows PC, you would check into Zoom and chord Alt plus Y. On your Mac, Command plus Y. And on your telephone, for our telephone listeners, dial *9. Now, if you want to enter a question into the chat box because for whatever reason you don't want to chat to us with your voice, which you shouldn't feel the need to not want to do so. But if your kids are asleep or you otherwise cannot speak, Alt plus H or Command plus H will put you right into the chat box. Enter your question, hit enter, and I'll see it. We'll see it. Raise your hands, we'll see that, and aggregate you to the conversation. This will be an interesting one because today we are talking about two very powerful apps, Google Lookout and Google Lens. And just like Seeing AI by Microsoft, these two apps have the power, the resources, development, and engineering of a humongous tech corporation behind it. And you can tell when you use and you see these apps in action, as you will see a little bit later on, that these are real deal, that these actually, when on your phone and when utilized to the fullest of their capabilities, can enhance your life, can help you read things, can help you identify things, and can just improve your life both at home and professionally. So we'll let Dan take it away with Google. Take it away, Dan.
All righty. Well, good evening, everybody. I am Dan Hart, and I'm an accessibility and a data specialist here at Travis Association for the Blind, as Eric was talking about earlier. Today we're going to talk about Google Lens and Google Lookout. A couple of differences between, or the main difference, let me rephrase that, between the two different apps is that Google Lens relies on taking a picture of something and then doing whatever it is that you want to do with the text or the image that that is captured. Google Lookout is really what we've been waiting for on the Android platform for a very, very long time, since Seeing AI came out on the iOS platform. There's been all kinds of rumors that it's coming to Android. They're working on it, and it's been, many, many years since Seeing AI has come out, and nothing has come out from them on the Android platform thus far. So when Google Lookout came out, I was really, really excited when I got in and actually started using it, and kind of comparing it with with Eric and some other folks that use Seeing AI on a regular basis. It really is a great addition. As Eric was saying, it's a great addition to your toolbox if you're on the Android platform. With both of these particular pieces of software, initially when I was looking at Google Lens, I was thought that it was only available on Android, but it looks like Google Lens is available out there on the Apple App Store. So you can definitely check out Google Lens, Lens, as in Sierra. Now, Google Lookout is definitely only available on the Android platform right now. So maybe they'll port it over to iOS or other operating systems in the future. We'll kind of wait and see, and then kind of go from there. All righty, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up Google Lens on my phone here. Let's see, get to Google. Okay, so I've got Google Lens open. There are a lot of different things that you can do here. The first item that we're going to go over is we're going to go over Translate. So I've got a box here, and I can see it's, let's see, I think this is my Quaker Oats oatmeal box here. So I'm just going to point this at the back of the box, and I'm going to take a picture. Okay, so I've got a picture here. Oops, I do not have TalkBack on. Let me turn TalkBack on so that way folks can hear what's going on here.
Voice Assistant on. Google Lens.
Okay, so I've got my voice assistant on here. I've got my
Translate. Double tap to act. Looking for results. Looking for results. Collapsed. Looking for results. Progress bar. Collapsed. Translated text. Translated text. Collapsed. Expanded. Showing items 1 to 2 of 2.
So it's found some text and it's going to translate. And for the translation, there is a button at the top here.
Translating from English to Italian. Button.
So
Double tap to activate.
you can choose your source language. You can choose your target language. What's really nice is you can tell Google Lens to automatically detect what the source language is. And then you can set it to whatever you want: Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, Arabic, Hebrew, all kinds of different languages. And whatever Google Translate will support, this does support as well. So I'm going to feel around the screen here.
Copy all button.
I can actually copy the text that it has found. I can copy it to my clipboard.
Translate it to open and translate button.
And where I can also open it and translate. And I'm going to go ahead and double tap on open and translate.
Translate. Cholesterol, jadium, carbohydrate totally, filtro-dietetico, fiber soluble, total bookers, include zuccheri, agimanti, proteina, the oliva, DV, malto. So what that's done is it was reading out actually the Italian version of that particular text.
So it's really neat that you can send it straight to Google Translate there if you're traveling abroad, if you're on a cruise and you're cruising the Mexican Riviera and you venture out into some of the local malls and that you want to know what's, what kind of food is around you or what kind of stores are around you. You can actually point Google Lens at any kind of text there, any kind of signage. You can send it in there to your Google Translate, and bam, you know exactly what's going on around you. So that's going to be it for the Google Translate piece. Let's see here. So now we're going to go on with text. I'm going to figure out what is going on here with the Google Text, and let me get in there here right quick.
1840 device unlocked. Translate back button.
Go back.
Translator text collapsed expanded. Google Lens. Translator text collapse back button. Translator.
And I should have tested this earlier. Hey Eric, are you able to? You're picking up the voice reader, okay?
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Text. Double tap. Showing item 2 of 7.
So with text, again, I've got my trusty Quaker Oats bar here, or box.
Text. Double tap to active. Looking for results. Text found in image. Text found in image. Collapsed. Expanded. Showing items 1 to 2 of 2.
So it tells me that it found some text in an image, and all it is doing now is, again, you can copy the text that it found to your clipboard, and you can paste it in an email or your message or whatever you'd like. Something that's really, really cool here. If you do not have, say you're a low vision user and you don't regularly use a screen reader, there is a button to listen.
Listen button. Double tap text found in image. Collapsed. Expanded.
Monounsaturated fat cholesterol. Sodium. Total carbohydrate. Dietary fiber soluble fiber. Total sugars.
Back button.
Include
text found in image.
So it's really neat that it's not dependent, that this app is not dependent on a screen reader if you're not an avid screen reader user. I do have a voice assistant turned on, and it's acting just fine with each other. So that's kind of cool. Again, something that I really, really do like is the fact that it will give you the ability to copy everything to your clipboard and be able to send to anybody anything that you see.
Lock screen. 1842.
Alrighty. So there is your text in Google Lens. Oops, let me go back to my meeting here. Lost my meeting control here. Where am I at? Any questions, or is there anything that anybody would like to ask at this point? Well, I'm looking for my
double tap to activate. Double tap to type to long press.
Be careful.
Screen turned off. Ringer vibrate. Lock screen.
I'm sorry, what was that there, Eric? Okay. Let's see here. Trying to find out where my document is. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's see here. So that was text. I've got Google's, let me see. I think it was on the, okay, there. So that was my text. Okay, now for my search.
1840 device unlocked. Google Lens. Magnification on at 374%. Magnification
search is really cool.
Double tap.
So again, this is again in Google Lens. I'm in the search option. This allows you to point your camera or your phone at anything that's around you and take a picture of it. So for instance, say if you want to take a picture of somebody's keyboard, it's a really cool wireless keyboard and you want to see what it is, you can just snap a photo of it. And if Google Lens, if it actually recognizes it, it'll tell you, hey, this is the Logitech waveform MK3350, I think is what it identified my keyboard at work with. And it'll tell you, hey, this is what it is. It will also tell you, this is a mouse, this is what it thinks it is. So it'll also tell you, hey, this is a black Labrador retriever if I point it at my dog. It'll identify different animals. It'll attempt to identify your furniture around you and tell you exactly what that piece of furniture is. It just like with any of the things that we talked about with seeing AI, it's not perfect. So it will at least give you an idea of what is around you and kind of give you an idea that this is a coffee table. Whether it's the exact one or not, it may not be the exact same one, but again, it tells you, hey, this is a coffee table. I wish my dog was up here because I could actually point at the dog and you could hear what it says. Okay, the next one here, I was going to ask my.
Let
Yes,
me
sir.
cut you off real quick, Dan. We had one question from Carolina. Hey, Carolina, is Google Lens free? And I believe it is free.
Absolutely, it is available for free on both iOS and Android, and it installs very, very easily. All righty. All right, good question. Very good question. All righty. Homework. This is something I really struggled with, and I have yet to show my 15 and my 17-year-old this because I don't want them using this right now. But what the homework tab does, it actually allows you to take pictures of equations. It allows you to take pictures of problems. If you have, say, a physics problem, it will allow you to take a picture of this. And when you take a picture, it will say, hey, how do you want to solve this problem? So, for example, if you are doing, say, some kind of a fraction and you need to solve for X or Y or whatever it is that you're looking at it, you can say, hey, I want to solve this into a mixed number, or I want to solve using the quadratic equation, or maybe use Ohm's law, or whatever the case is. This is really marketed for the students. I didn't have any examples on this one, unfortunately, but everything that I read online about homework is it really has helped a lot of kids out, a lot of folks out that have problems with their homework and doing these different math problems. It's really done a good job. So that is an option out there. Again, you take a picture of whatever it is that you're trying to solve, and it will attempt to give you different options on what you need to solve for, how to solve it. Alrighty, shopping. Shopping is what is another option. Shopping in places, the last two bits on Google Lens, I believe it is. I've not had a chance to really look at. Shopping will allow you to, say, point your camera, take an image of a jacket, and it will give you maybe some suggestions of what might go with that jacket or what might go with that sweater. It also has some built-in price tracking with some of the local retailers, from what I understand. Again, it's AI. It's not going to be perfect, but it may give you a good idea of at least a direction to go. So that way you definitely have more of an image or more of an understanding of, hey, this is a blue jacket, so these 4 different pairs of pants of these colors might match this jacket. So that's something that's kind of nice, that's built into the Google Lens there. Let's see here. We're going to go over places. Places was something that is it was really cool. Again, I've not had a chance. I've not been on any kind of adventures to test this out due to the pandemic. This allows you to point at certain buildings. I've seen that if you're, say, on the outskirts of Austin, and if you're kind of up on a hill, it should identify that it's Austin based on the skyline, kind of how the buildings are. I think the one that I saw was a picture of Phoenix, Arizona, and it did a pretty good job of saying this is Phoenix, Arizona. But it will also allow you to point at certain buildings. It'll kind of tell you where you are, what that building is. You can get information about this building if it's a local business, what the business is, local, the hours of operation, a little bit of information about that particular business there as well in your places tab. Dining. again, due to the pandemic, have not been out and dining a whole bunch. So this particular option, I absolutely cannot wait to go to my local, one of my local restaurants. You will be able to scan, say, a restaurant's menu, and it'll give you some suggestions as to what's on the menu, what's very popular, kind of what's trending on that particular menu. Something else that's built in here is the ability to kind of, if you need to split a bill, say between 10 people or whatever, it'll tell you the different amounts that everybody owes. Also, it will help you out with tipping. If you want to have a quick way to find out the tip amount that you should be tipping your waiter or waitress there, take a picture of your bill and it'll give you an idea of 12, 15, 20, 25%. And it's really going to be a good tool. It's another tool there to have at your fingertips. So that's going to be Google Lens. Again, that is update. That's both on iOS and Android. I would definitely encourage folks to take a look at it. Take a look at some of these things that I personally haven't been able to take a look at, again, just due to pandemic and just not going out anywhere. But if I would definitely give it a try and just see what it does for you and how it can help you out. As Eric said, this is another a tool to kind of have in your desktop or in your toolbox. Let's see here.
So Dan, so Carolina is saying here, and maybe it's different. Let's see. Did you download it on the iOS store, by the way, Carolina? But she's saying she downloaded Google Lens, and it's telling her $4.99 a month for Google Lens.
Wow, interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. That's interesting that Google will charge on one platform but not another. There is no charge on the Play Store, so that is very interesting to see that. Thank you for pointing that out, Caroline. I really appreciate that. Good information for us to pass on to other folks. I do know, what's the equivalent, Eric, on the iPhone for Google Lens for like still images? What was the app that was kind of similar to it?
So for still images on the iPhone, you can download what's called Tap-C. Now this doesn't have the power of $1 billion corporation behind it, but it's one of the original pioneering apps for AI. And it takes still images of labels and currency and try to read it out to you. You can also use Seeing AI. I mean, Seeing AI will still take still images of documents, and you can read your texts real time. So Google Lens is there if you want. If it can do some things that Seeing AI, for example, the building thing, the shopping, those quirky little features that Seeing AI doesn't have. But if we are talking about sheer office productivity, they're pretty similar in what they can do.
Gotcha. That's pretty interesting. Alrighty. Let's see here. So the next application we're going to go over is Google Lookout. I'm really excited about this app. I wish it was available for all platforms. I really feel like this is the Seeing AI answer on Android. It does a really, really good job of a lot, just all kinds of stuff. So it's got a couple of different features here. First one we're going to go over is Explore. So I'm going to get back into so I'm going to close out a Lens. Let's go back here. Let me get to Google Lookout.
Lookout, row 4, column. Lookout, scan document mode. To close, move back, currency. Food, move back. Explore, beta, mode. Explore, beta. Lookout, explore mode. Text, etc. Text, food label to identify what it is. T to let you know a size / quantity. Text, curtains, etc. Text, add any effects.
So,
text. Flashlight on. Text, will attempt to let you. Reads name brand AR. Text, explore. Text, will identify animal such. Text, let you know people indicate furniture. -. Text, for food label. Text, quick read. Text, point out any food label. Computer keyboard with text. Load. Text. Action. Food label. Beta mode.
Okay, so I'm going to, oops, I don't want to do
Flashlight
that.
off.
So
Screen
as you
turned
can
off.
see with the
Look out,
Explore,
mode. Text. Able to identify wall.
this,
Stop button. Text. Double tap.
okay, got to stop that. Sorry about that. So the Explore button, or the Explore option here, you open up Google Lookout, and if you go to the Explore option, this allows you to explore your surroundings. It tells you, you probably heard it say curtains, table. It will point out, you know, what it sees on tables as far as, you know, computer keyboard, display device, door, window. It really does a good job of telling you what's around you and what it can identify.
Screen turned off.
When you are in the Explore mode, it will also identify a dog as a dog. So my dog is definitely he's kind of a glutton for being a guinea pig of sorts. No, I did not. That brings up a good point. I did not point it at my guinea pig. Might come up as a football because our guinea pig's pretty fat. So he's brown too, kind of like a football. But Explore it really gives you a good idea of what's around you and where it's at. You know, when you're pointing it at a door, oh, there's the door I was looking for, and you can, you know, kind of navigate towards that door. It's pretty, it's not, again, it's not perfect. It does a really nice job though of giving you a good idea of what's around you. This next one, oh my goodness, I have been using this like no other. Food label. So to use a food label the first time, when you initially download, the first time you tap on the food label section, it does download a small database of different things. This is a little bit different than Seeing AI. Seeing AI kind of gives you that little tone to listen to the bar, to find the barcode, and it scans the barcode, tells you what it is. This is actually looking at the label of something itself. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this back on. We're going to get into
food label, beta mode.
Food label.
Food label, beta. Look out, food label mode. Quick read mode. Quick read mode. Last type. Start button. Not in list.
Start it back up here. Okay, so I'm picking up now. I know that this is my Quaker Oats, but
Quaker maple and brown sugar cinnamon and spice and apples and cinnamon instant oatmeal variety pack box.
So it tells me that was a variety pack of something. I got a spice here. I have no idea what it is.
McCormick smoked paprika pack.
Oh, McCormick smoked paprika, one of my favorite spices there.
Sign in as danhartdunhartes@gmail.com. Open account menu. Stop button. Recents button. Explore beta mode in list 5 items. Food label beta mode selected. Quick read mode. Quick read mode. Last item. Double tap to activate. Food label beta mode.
Trying to get it to read this here.
Fiesta ground comino extra fancy plus of M&M milk choco.
Ooh, ground cumin. I love that.
No product
Another
in view.
one.
McCormick Grill Mates Montreal chicken seasoning 2.75 ounce jar.
2.75 ounce jar. So not only did it read out that it's McCormick's and it was a Grill Mate chicken flavor, but it also reads out what size the that particular container
Products
is.
not recognized. Try rotating it to other sides.
So it's just looking around for
Products
another
not recognized.
product here.
Try
So
rotating
now
it
I'm
to
going
other
to point at
sides.
something
Flashlight
bigger.
on. Quick read mode. On quick read mode. Last item. Double tap to activate.
Come on.
Food label beta.
I'm trying to get it to read my cereal box here. I promise you it worked earlier. But just like when Eric was doing the Seeing AI, there was a couple
Stop
things
button.
that
Not
just
list. Flashlight off.
it did not work on right away.
Start button.
That's kind of where I'm at with this one right now. So I'm going to retry it,
Kashi Cinnamon
relaunch it.
Harvest breakfast cereal vegan box.
Oh, Kashi Cinnamon Harvest breakfast cereal. So there you
Product not
go.
recognized. Signed in as Dan
So
Hartman
again,
@gmail.com. Open
This
account
was
menu.
using
Stop button.
the product labels. I was just pointing it
Sign
at
in
the
as Dan Hartman
product. I think one of them was even upside down,
Screen turned off.
and it still reads it to you,
Lock screen.
which is really cool. It does recognize your local brands. So for us here in Texas, it does recognize, like I had some HEB, I think it was like some kind of a Sweetwater or something like that. And so yeah, it recognized everything. It was really cool. It was very, very cool. Alrighty, let's see here. Next is the quick read. This is really, really cool. I'm actually going to point this at my computer screen. Let me turn my phone
19
back on
Handout
here.
device unlocked. Lookout food label. Quick read mode in list. Quick read. Lookout quick read mode.
I'm actually going to turn voice assistant off.
Voice assistant off.
And I'm going to turn it back on here. Start the app.
Its name, brand, and what? I agreed. Quickly read any text. Pen document. Currency scan here. Quickly read any text. Scan a document into your identify US paper currency.
So it's actually
quick read. Quickly read. Scan document. Scan a document into currency scan. Held enter.
So it's actually reading the verbiage off of my computer screen. I'm going to point this at the back of the oatmeal package.
Nutrition facts. Total fat. Fat saturated, fat trans polyunsaturated, monounsaturated. Dietary fiber. Cholesterol, sodium, total carbohydrate. Protein. Packet. Container percent.
So you can see that it's just picking up the text on the back of the package. And I happen to be pointing it at the nutritional value table on the back of that of the oatmeal. Really cool stuff that you can read what's back there, that you can read those nutritional facts. I'm pretty sure Seeing AI does that. We'll kind of get into that here a little bit in just a few moments after we kind of finish up here with a few other things, because Eric and I will kind of talk a little bit about some of the differences between Seeing AI and Google Lookout. And we'll kind of flesh out some of those different things. Scan document. This was really cool. This was very, very cool. Let me go ahead and I've got a really cool story about this actually here in just a second. So I'm going to go ahead and start this again.
Can't detect text. Hold still. Can't detect text. Can't detect text. Device left. Hold still.
So there, it was telling you to move the device to the left, hold still, and it'll also tell you move to the upper right, move to the upper left. And what it does is it displays a picture or displays text on your phone as it sees. Now, if you have TalkBack or Assistant turned on, you can go ahead and you can read it just like you would any other text or any other document. There's also a share icon on here, and you can actually share this with somebody, or you can copy it to your clipboard. You can copy it straight into an email. You can copy it straight into a text message. It's really cool. Or if you are really looking for something, say on the back of that page, you could copy it to your clipboard. You could then send it to Google Translate. You could copy it back into Google Translate, and that's another way that you could tie in Google Translate in with any one of these particular services. The other thing that was like really, really cool, I was reading, or I was taking pictures of various things around the office, and I happened to pick up a product manual for a device that we just got in. And I just scanned the table of contents, and it was reading out the table of contents. It was doing its thing, no problem. But then I noticed a little bit farther down, once it got done with with all of the processing with the scanned document, it now had a link to that document in PDF format that Google found on the internet. And I was like, oh my golly. So I tapped on that link, and sure enough, that was the entire manual for that page that I had just scanned. If you have part of a manual, say you spill coffee on a manual and you only have, say, one page of that manual left, you can actually scan that page, and as long as Google can find the PDF on the internet, which it's pretty darn accurate at it, you can just download and view the online version of it and save it to your phone for future use. I was so impressed. I was so tickled about that. That really made my day when I found that. The last feature of Google Lookout, I don't even have any cash on me, but it's the currency reader. Very typical of currency readers. It does read US dollars. It's only limited to US dollars right now, to my knowledge. $1 US, $5 US, $10 US, so on and so forth. And again, you can scan the front, you can scan the back. It can be upside down, right side up, sideways, whatever. It will actually announce it to you. Again, with Google Lookout, for anything that's being announced like this, you don't have to have your screen reader turned on. It will automatically read it for you. It's a really, really neat thing. All righty. So at this point, what we've got is that's really the two apps in a nutshell. I know that we went through them very, very quickly. There's a lot of, so we want, at this time, we want to open it up kind of a roundtable discussion. Eric and I will kind of start, we'll kind of compare some notes with Seeing AI versus say Google Lookout. Those are the two that I think are really, hey Google, I didn't call you yet. Those are the two apps that I think are really, really similar. One thing that I do like about Seeing AI that I know that Eric has kind of pointed out, Eric, and if correct me if I'm wrong, but Seeing AI, I think takes the best of both Lens and Lookout, and it really gives you everything in one place. You don't have to have two separate apps. Is that kind of your feeling between the?
So Seeing AI does take from both apps, but together both apps sort of supersede the capabilities of Seeing AI. For example, Seeing AI does the quick text reading. It calls it short text. So with that, you can read text real time. It'll capture your documents. It's almost inferior in some aspects. For example, with the product labeling, it's just amazing how fast Google Lookout will read the code, the label, where with Seeing AI, you have to hear for these tones, for these little bitty 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 bitty, and then gotta scan it, and hopefully you get a good scan that doesn't tell you that the product's not recognized. With Google Lens, it almost seems instantaneous, where it just tells you that's Quaker Oats, that's a 16-ounce bottle of salt. Yeah,
Yep.
but Seeing AI does do almost everything as far as what these two apps can do, but where these two apps beat it is with those quirky little like the shopping app or the translation. Naturally, Google has access to a huge repository of data, so there's that. But Seeing AI right now, it can't translate, or it can't tell you what to wear with a certain color shirt.
Yeah, and it's a matter of, I think it's like anything, it improves over time, and it's there's going to be times when it just can't handle what it is that you're asking it to do. For example, there was some handwriting that I did try to point it at, and it was not very good handwriting at all. And I think
Right.
Most AIs are like that. If you're using some handwritten notes, it's just got to be really good, clean handwriting. And I think it's even got to be printing. I haven't encountered anything yet that'll actually read cursive. Probably just dated myself right there too. Cursive writing.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone under 18 knows cursive anymore.
No, hey, our kids learned it when we homeschooled. We made sure
Right.
to teach them, but other than that, no, they were never taught cursive at all in school. It was all printed.
It's so weird to see
So
checks. It's so weird to see checks printed in regular, non-closed print. It's so
it
strange.
is. It
Yeah.
is. It's very weird. It is very, very weird.
But
Um, I don't really know that one app is better than the other. They just do things a little bit differently.
right.
And it just comes down to what kind of preference do you have, especially if you have access to both an Apple and an Android type of devices. You might use one for podcatching or music. You might use the other one for the functionality of Seeing AI, or for Lookout, whichever one of those apps you like.
Yeah.
It's just they accomplish a lot of the same things, just a little bit differently. There's something else that Seeing AI did that you had gone over last week.
Seeing AI. Well, a few things that I saw. It does Google Lookout do handwriting?
That one I have not looked at actual cursive printing.
Okay.
It does pick up though, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, the cursive, no.
Right. But the Seeing AI, and I'm surprised Google Lookout, can't do this because it's such a nuanced yet such a massively important piece of information for a blind person. And this mainly goes towards the totally blind, but it's that almost cute light identifier. So if you have no light perception whatsoever, you kind of want to know how much light is in the room for things like taking pictures, and that
Mhm.
for things like selfies or pictures of the room or pictures of a document, because as we know, if the room's too dark or if there's too much light overhead, then you're going to have trouble capturing images. So that's
Correct.
one thing that Google Lookout can do. They won't give you any auditory indicators of how much light is actually in front of the camera lens.
Correct.
Right.
Now, being that I do have some vision left, it will turn the flashlight automatically on or off. But if you're not using the screen reader, it won't tell you that it turned the flashlight on or off.
Wow. Okay.
It just does it, which I really wished that there was something there that would tell you that it did turn on or turn off. I really did like that. That's what I was trying to think of, that the light sensing functionality and seeing AI. I really did like that. So, I mean, there's times when I go into something, to a room, and it may be very dimly lit, but to me it looks totally black. But at least there you have some kind of semblance of, okay, it's just extremely low lighting. And I know that, I can't see in here, but somebody else that walks in, that, like if my wife walks into the place, she'll be able to see no problem.
Right.
So I really did like that little feature.
Another cool feature that Seeing AI has that is actually absent from Google Lookout is it doesn't memorize the faces of people. The Seeing AI with its person channel, it'll try to tell you how old someone is. It'll give you certain features. For example, I pointed at myself and it tells you I'm a 28-year-old man, black hair, looking neutral, which is pretty accurate.
Mhm.
Uh, Although one time it did caught a smile as a frown, so is it frowning? And I was like, gee, I just way to kill my self-confidence right there. But it has a mode wherein if it'll take pictures of your face and then you can assign a name to it. So whenever you point that phone at someone and their face is saved in its memory, it'll say Dan, Dan is looking neutral, or Dan is 5 feet away. That's pretty cool. Again,
Yeah,
super situational, but it's just another avenue of, hey, this is how I can tell who you are or what you look like.
exactly.
Yeah.
Uh, we do have a quick question here from Miss Diana. Have we heard about these tools being available on eyeglasses in the future? If it's Android based, and if the eyeglasses have access to the Google Play Store, I don't see why it won't
Mhm.
be available out there on any of those particular devices. I actually have an Android. We've got some Android devices at work there. I'll have to check them out. It's the New Eyes, and they are Android. I'll have to take a look in the Play Store and kind of see if I can get it downloaded on the device, and then kind of see how Lookout works on those devices. That's a very good question. Very, very good question.
And actually, I'm curious myself to know if, these apps, because if they could work on something like the iWatch, do you know?
That I don't know.
Right.
That would be
Do
very
those
interesting.
smartwatches come with cameras?
So my smartwatch does not have a camera on it. You can control your phone's camera with it,
Right.
but yeah, it's not. It does not have the ability to actually take pictures on its own. So is the on the Apple Watches? Is there a built-in camera on the Apple
I
Watches?
believe the newer generations ones, and correct me if
Oh
I'm
man,
I
that is
believe
so
the
cool.
generations ones do have a camera on them, so you can point your
Now,
stuff. Like,
now my watch is it's one generation old. I haven't really looked at the newest generation. Maybe they've
right.
got something on there, but I would imagine if Apple's got one thing I have noticed for a long time is between Apple and Samsung, those two typically go back and forth. One of the companies will introduce something or take something away.
Right.
I'll bring up the biggest elephant in the room on that one, the doggone earphone jack.
Yeah.
Apple did away with it. It took a couple years for Samsung to do it, but they finally did it.
Right.
You know, it's, and I see this one coming too. The newest, I think the iPhone 13s right now, all the rumors that I'm hearing is no charging port. It's
Yeah.
all going to be wireless. I will bet you money Samsung's going to do it within 1 to 2 generations afterwards as well. Foldable phones, Samsung's got a good market on that right now. Apple's pretty darn close to launching their foldable phone too, but kind of getting off topic there. But
yeah.
um,
The race right now, guys, it is how small can we get things while simultaneously preserving the power, and that's why
yes,
seeing jacks removed, because that's a huge. I know they look small from the outside, but when you take the guts out of a phone, those jacks really take up a lot of room, as
they do.
inconvenient as it is to lose those things.
Yeah, they really do. They really,
Yeah.
really do. But I mean, one thing too that you can also do with the Google Lookout is there is an option to look at everything that it has identified. So you can go back and, oh, what kind of animal was that identified 3 animals ago? And and it'll say dog. So you can then go back and say, okay, that was a dog. This is when I identified the dog. If you took a picture of some images or excuse me, of some text, and it was 10, 15 minutes ago, you can go back through your list of things that you've identified, and you can always go back and copy it to your clipboard again, and then go paste it. So that's something kind of nice. You can browse through the history of what you've identified on the Lookout app.
And have you seen if Google Lookout or Lens can read to you the text found in screenshots, like for menus?
Yes,
Cool.
it does. So
Fantastic.
all of this, so it would be just like say on the Quaker Oats bar, how it was reading
Right.
the nutritional values there. That was on the quick read option. I could use the quick read option on the menu and Lookout, and it would just read whatever it sees right there in front of me. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
one thing that I didn't see, and I don't know if one of these apps has it, is you can actually go in, browse your camera roll, and apply the AI to them. So either it'll tell you, hey, this is what the scene in this photo that you've already taken looks like, or here's a screenshot of an application that you took, and this is what it says on it. Can it do something like that?
I have not seen that functionality, and when I was reading up on these,
Right.
I did not see that. I think it's probably pretty darn. I can definitely see that in the future. I know that
Right.
I believe Seeing AI has that. Is it called like
Yes.
camera roll or picture roll or something?
Yep, that's it. Camera roll.
Yeah, I really like. That was the other feature I was trying to think of that you went over. I really liked that feature. That was so cool.
That is awesome.
Um,
I use it all
you
the
know,
time. A lot
it.
of websites right now, especially mom and pops places, they want to put up a really cute menu, a really cool looking menu, awesome, crazy fonts, or they're just pictures, right? Just here, take this menu, scan it, upload it. It takes 5 seconds. But
Right.
while that works when you can see, for us, it really makes it difficult to browse that. So I would go in there and I would go picture by picture and I would take screenshots of these different pictures. Google Maps does that too, where it'll upload pictures of the menus. So take a screenshot of it, go into
Yep.
Seeing AI, tap on the camera roll, and load it through the AI filter, and then it'll just spit all this text at you. I think that's the main thing that sort of separates the two. You have your little idiosyncrasies that exist, but like that's one big feature that really is a game changer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Again, it's just differences in how they work, in what you like. Overall, very, very good tools. I really have been using Lookout a lot around the house. I've been bugging my wife a lot less to come help me find spices and all kinds of stuff, which is nice. She works very, very hard. I don't hate to get her up off the couch when she's watching something, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun seeing what these apps can do and really just kind of opening up those different doors for us. So,
Yeah, it's awesome.
does
And
anybody have any? Oh, go ahead, Eric.
oh well, absolutely. If anyone has questions, please throw them in. But it's also really cool to point out, guys, that 5 years neither of these apps existed. I believe Seeing AI was sort of a pioneering force where it came out around 2014, 2015 as like this cute little alpha thing that Microsoft was testing. That, hey, blind people, check this out. It's pretty cool. And it was pretty cool. It was pretty revolutionary because you had apps like Tap Tap See in the past. You had apps by blind companies. But to have a corporation like Microsoft step out and say, all right, here you go. Let's dive into this the disabled market. Let's try to branch out and reach out to them and get things out to them that is productivity for the blind. And now to think that, hey, now it's sort of a clash of the behemoths when it comes to a war of accessibility. And that's such a cool concept. You have Google
Is
decking it out to see who can be more accessible. And that's pretty freaking cool.
yeah, I totally agree. Google Lens wasn't really market. It was just an app that was marketed, for it wasn't really marketed to one particular group, but Google Lookout definitely has verbiage that it is there to help someone who is blind or visually impaired to identify their surroundings and to look out around you. And like you say, Eric, I'm really happy to see, like you say, two very, very large corporations, Microsoft and Google, that are really stepping out there. Apple's been doing this for quite some time, but to see Microsoft and Google really starting to get out there and really start doing some really neat stuff now, it's just giving us all kinds of different tools and all kinds of different things to consider and to just to be a lot more independent.
Absolutely.
It's really neat.
And it's only going to improve as time sort of moves on. I mean, just to think 5 years ago, Android was so far behind the loop with, I think it was Android 6 or so. It was just so far behind anything iOS could do. And now they're two very tenable options. And here's some self-promotion, but even now here at the Travis Association for the Blind, as part of our technology curriculum, it's so accessible that we are willing to train people on Android as a feasible primary mobile accessible platform for a person who is blind. That's not something you could have said 5 years ago.
So, I've been an avid Android user for 10 years, and I totally agree with you. About 5 years ago is when um, the code name was Lollipop. That was anything before Lollipop was awful as far as talkback and whatnot. Lollipop forward, I think it was 6. I think, like you said, it was
Right.
6 and
4
forward.
was Jelly Bean, and then 5 was
Jelly Bean, yeah, that one was
Jelly.
that was Kit Kat was the one that was really bad. But
Right.
from Lollipop forward, from 6 forward, the accessibility has only gotten better. And it's also been nice to see that on some of these major releases in the last couple of years, that Google is now putting in their release notes, hey, this is here for accessibility. These bugs were fixed for accessibility. And they're really paying attention to that. They're really listening to the user base of really wanting to make their products accessible for everyone. And it's not just for items that are blind or visually impaired. They've got all kinds of things on there. If you browse the accessibility on your iDevices, you'll see different things in there for the switches or for the any of the mechanical types of accessibility for different things. Google's been doing the same thing. They've been really marketing and really trying to put the accessibility out there for multiple different disabilities. It's really neat that we're in a place where we are now that the disabilities are really being accessibility is really being addressed. I'm really, really thankful for that.
Absolutely. So the winds of change in the 2020s. they're going to be big they've already been big. The 2010s were big. The 2020s, I think, with the integration of progressively more mobile technology, tiny little chips that are embedded in glasses, which we will talk about 2 weeks from now, by the way. And that's a perfect segue. With technology improving, sure, AI is powerful and it will continue to get powerful, but for those times that AI doesn't get the job done, or if AI for whatever reason isn't working to its capacity, there are still person assisted apps out there, and we're going to talk about two very powerful apps. One is paid and ran by volunteer help, and the other one is it's absolutely paid. You pay for it, but it gives you outstanding professional level service, and those would be My Eyes and Ira. And these two apps, they fill in the gaps perfectly. I mean, whatever you're seeing AI or Google Lookouts can't do, this will it will give someone, it will bring someone directly to your phone that can peek out through your camera and tell you, hey, this is how you mitigate this problem, or this is how you get this done, and we're going to walk you through it. Obviously, Ira is going to be much more professional, but you are paying for that professionalism, and we're going to be demonstrating that in 2 weeks. But that's pretty cool that, again, we have a buffet of options, either AI, person assisted, or something in between.
Exactly. Comes down to whatever someone's comfortable with and what's
Absolutely.
easier for you. I mean, it is awesome. Like you say, it's buffet, and you just go and you pick out what you like. It's awesome.
Are there any questions in the feed?
Alrighty. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat. I'm not seeing
Okay.
any hands raised right now. So
So I'll just give our little outro spiel, and if you see a hand pop up or a question, feel free to interrupt me.
hey,
But
hang on one sec. We did get a question
Yeah.
here. It says, what Android is good? On that is are you talking about possibly a tablet, a phone? What version of Android? Let me see here. Kind of depends on what Android is good. If you're talking a phone or a tablet, they're all, let's see here. Okay, what Android phones are good?
Hmm.
That's a question that could be a webinar in and of itself.
Yeah.
I will say, if you're looking for an ecosystem similar to what Apple has, Samsung is definitely the way to go.
All right.
That particular ecosystem is not nearly as built up or refined or as seamless as Apple. It's getting very, very close, but you do have the price tags of the flagship models of the Samsungs. The Google Pixel line is very, very good. That uses what we call vanilla Android. So there's nothing on there, say with a Samsung device. It does not put a Samsung spin on the operating system as far as how you interact with your device. LG has always been very, very good. I've had an LG personally, and it's just like, you get used to how they do things. Those are the three big ones that I usually pay attention to. Unfortunately, another one that I really liked that I got to look at a trade show earlier this year was the Huawei phones, but unfortunately they're banned right now. They are one of the largest Chinese
Right.
manufacturers of phones. Those were actually really, really good. Even if you can import one into the United States now, those phones do not have Google Play on them, and it goes back to the Chinese ban on different things and dealings with the United States. Samsung, especially if you're just getting into it, Samsung would be a good choice. So there's different tiers of pricing, and we can definitely talk about that some more. Maybe in a future webinar we can go over some of the different manufacturers.
And with that,
yep, that's all I'm seeing right now, Eric.
wonderful. And with that, I think it's a wonderful time to say, hey, thank you to everybody who joined us today. And thank you so much to anyone checking us out in the future, whether that be tomorrow or well down the road. Our webinars are on the agenda, the link to our webinar archive. We have improved a lot better at getting them up there. Again, you can reach out to us either at eric.cifuentes, SIFUENTES at austinlighthouse.org or dan.hart@austinlighthouse.org. Throw any questions, comments, or suggestions for future topics to us, and we will absolutely implement them into the future presentations. Again, thank you to Ms. Dr. Laura Mueller for being with us since pretty much the beginning and bringing in her patients to us. And thank you to everyone else who has joined us throughout the duration of today's presentation. Join us next time where we sort of divert away from AI, but remain with the theme of productivity. And we'll look at Be My Eyes and Ira to fill in those gaps where AI still sort of falls a little short. Again, this is Eric Cifuentes and with Dan Hart, letting you guys have a wonderful night, and we will see you soon.
Night. Spaces here.